Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Charific here, coming at you with another Pokemon movie analysis. And my boy Weeb Rabbit is right here with me, chilling in the theater, as always.
What up, guys? It's your boy, Young EV, because I want Risa to capture me and tell me what to do.
Oh my gosh.
No, she's a cute character,
Oh
though. I'm just,
man.
she's a cute
Yeah,
character.
no, she
She
is.
has
She
a pretty unique
is.
look and stuff. I thought she was a fun character, which we'll get
Yeah,
to
no,
in a
she
moment. But
does.
and
But
after all this time, I had to do a terrific type intro. So
that is true. I'm rubbing off on them.
right.
But yeah, no, guys, it's been a minute since we've recorded one of these, but we're just gonna dive back in. We are going over the sequel to I Choose You and the sequel in this weird new universe slash soft reboot of Ash. This is Pokemon The Power of Us, and it was very interesting. Uh, it, it's I don't know what do the young kids say nowadays? Mid, is that still a thing? Like
Yes,
movie was
I believe they do
okay.
still say that. Well,
Yeah,
by the
no,
time this comes out, maybe that'll be like
I mean, yeah,
old
you're
news.
right. But
Oh
yeah,
boy.
no, but let's just dive in. Movie starts off as always in an ambiguous city in an ambiguous region. They have some festival going. This one is the Wind Festival celebrating Lugia. And interestingly enough, we don't start off saying Ash. We start off with this young girl, Risa, visiting her brother in the hospital. He gives her a Pokeball and it's like, hey, yo, hey, sis, here goes some sunglasses. Catch me a Pokemon. She's like, I bet. And then we flash over to Margot, who's the mayor's daughter, and she's off doing her thing. And then we also flash to what is it, Kelly and her Uncle Callahan, who's basically just a lying piece of crap.
The
And
term is con artist.
okay, yes, a con artist. And he's just like gassing her up with all these stories about stuff that he's done, complete lies. And then we go to Ash. Oh no, sorry. And then we go to this green-haired guy. I forgot what his name was. Was it like Reno? Uh,
Torin. Are you talking about Torin?
Torin, yes, Torin,
Torin, yeah.
thank you. He's just this shy guy with a Chansey and is a Pokemon researcher. And that's pretty much the gist of it all.
No, hold on. You're
Margot.
you're forgetting one person. And there's an old elderly lady called
Oh,
Harriet
yes,
who's a total
yes.
grouch.
Yeah, she's super grouchy towards Pokemon for some unknown reason that I'm sure they're
Which
not
makes
going to
no
tell us.
sense. Pokemon make up like half the population in this world. It's
Yeah, I know,
people and
right?
Pokemon. How can you
Yep.
hate Pokemon when they're all around you? That's weird.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh man, but yeah, no. And so Risa, her backstory is that she was a runner and she had a leg injury, and now she is anxious about running again. What's his name? Kylo, the green-haired dude.
You mean
Torin, Torin.
Torin? You
There
mean
we
Kylo?
go.
What the
Yeah.
hell? Oh, real quick, before I move on from that. Okay, they introduced that Risa is a former track runner, right? Before she got hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's one of those parts where it's really weird. So they have track in this world? Because you know how we always only ever focus on Pokemon, right? And we
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
have never seen people go to school. That's what made, Scarlet and Violet kind of different, right?
yeah.
But yet here it's like she's a track runner. So they have sports that don't
I
involve
mean,
Pokemon. And they have like schools and clubs and stuff.
yeah,
Super
man.
weird. It's one of those
Yeah.
things about this world that despite it being around for like 30 years at this point, they do
Mm-hmm.
not really, that's what I kind of hate. They never look at the bigger world and like the day-to-day life. So when you hear like, oh, Risa's like a former track runner, you're like, there's track in this world? People actually go to like high school and crap? Like what the hell?
Yeah, I know, right? Like super weird thing to randomly throw into a movie like 20 years later. Um, and then Torrance backstory is that he's just super shy and doesn't like speaking. Harriet, Weeb Rabbit talked about, she's grumpy. Callahan is a con artist, and Margot is just a little girl that likes Pokemon. I guess that's just her whole shtick. And pretty much she's running through the town. She knocks over some kids trying to sell some lemonade, and the kid's reaction is to throw a lemon at her. Ash catches it. He like gets into a battle, bodies the two dudes. They, run off to have fun. And then we skip on to the Pokemon catching competition. And Callahan cheats. He gets in cahoots with Torin, who helps him out so that he can look good for his niece. and Ash gets second place by saving a Tyranitar with a cable wrapped around its neck. Like, the thing was choking, and that caused it to rampage. Like, oh my gosh. Like, they've done some things in these movies before, but visibly showing a Pokemon choking and nobody understanding what's wrong with it, just being scared, that's pretty new. I will give them that. They did do something new with that one. But yeah, no. And then we move on from the catching competition. And then we skip to, I guess, Torrin's presentation, I guess, in exchange for helping Callahan. Callahan was going to present his research and whatnot that he did because he is super anxious and an introvert. Team Rocket shows up and steals one of his research projects. Harriet's there because she got tangled up with Torrin. He works these, it's weird. He makes these like vials of liquid, smoke, whatever, that correlate with Pokemon's moves and abilities. So she got like soaked in sweet and the equivalent of like sweet scent, which attracts Pokemon, and she hates it because obviously she hates Pokemon. She wants Torrin to fix it. Yeah, they're following her everywhere. She wants Torrin to fix it. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll work on it. And she sees Team Rocket, and Team Rocket is like, hey, yo, we're gonna dip out of here. And in the commotion, I think it's implied that. Oh, sorry, forgot to mention this too. Risa, with the help of Ash, catches an Eevee because she tried looking for an Eevee. Callahan gave her the wrong information, and so Ash actually helped her out. She caught the Eevee, and Eevee basically.
Isn't she lucky that her brother wanted her to catch an Eevee? There just happened to be an Eevee out and about
I know,
that
right?
day.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
There just wasn't an Eevee out and about that day. Sorry, bro. I tried to catch you one, but there just wasn't any available. And so you can like guess what Pokemon are gonna be there, right? So
yeah, I know, right? But yeah, no, they just happen upon an Eevee. They catch it, and get this. I think in the commotion, because Team Rocket throws a smoke ball. I think Eevee literally gets trampled because they take it to the Pokemon Center and it has a broken leg and there's footprints all around it when they find it. Again, this movie is freaking dark.
It's kind of weird.
Oh my gosh. And pretty much after that, they skip to Margot. And Margot, she basically hangs out with Zeraora, which is the mythical Pokemon of this movie, randomly here for some reason. And there are some Pokemon poachers.
To be fair, at the beginning, I think you said it starts with Risa. Didn't it start with like a little flashback where they showed like there was an issue back in the day, and that's where they showed.
Oh yeah,
there was like a fire, and Zeraora like appeared.
Yes,
and there was like some issues, and that's when
Lugia
there was
showed up fire. Lugia, the festival is celebrating Lugia, and Lugia in exchange and seeing the bond between people and Pokemon gives them wind like every single year, and that's what they celebrate Lugia for every year because their whole town is powered by wind apparently. And they have the Eternal Flame, which is, I guess, is a representation of their bond with Lugia. That's how Lugia knows to give them wind every year. So, okay, thank you for that. So now we go back. The Pokemon poachers hear that there's a rare Pokemon. Margot tries to throw them off, but then, they end up finding Teddy Ursa and wants to catch it. And then they attack Margot. Then Zeraora comes out to save them. And Zeraora defeats them, but not before he gets injured. And then Ash and his whole group of people, because he's with the mayor and Risa and I think Callahan, they all just show up. And
why were they all together? I don't even remember, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably just some plot armor.
Yeah, I understand Ash being with Risa because they were competing and he helped her catch the Eevee, and then Eevee got hurt.
Yeah,
I understand the whole thing about Torrin and Harriet being together because Harriet wanted Torrin to help her with the whole sweet scent thing, right?
Yes.
But then, how did all these other characters that come together that they see, like you said, Margot and Zeraora, and everyone's just together for some reason.
Everyone's just chilling together, and they just let the poachers go. They're like, we'll deal with them later, and the poachers never show up. By the way, I don't think we never get any type of resolution for that.
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
The poachers just disappear. They literally let criminals go that have literally captured other Pokemon in the area. By the way, they've been on a catching spree. We let them go. And pretty much Zeraora's injured. They find out that she's, Margot's just been chilling with it. And then again, we jump again. We find out that Team Rocket, they lost the item that they took from Torin, and it was basically, we find out it was at the ability effect spore in a bottle, just in a glass jar basically, and it cracks, and somehow, even though it's in a tiny container the size of like a Pokeball, when it cracks, it creates literally like a huge plume of smoke that starts
Yeah,
infecting the Pokemon.
yeah, like okay, for reference, Ash and his friends are standing outside the city, right? And they're looking towards the old power plant windmill looking thing in the distance. It's like on a mountain in the distance. Between them and the city and that what I'm talking about, that power plant thing, there is, woods. The bottle thing cracks somehow, I guess because Team Rocket dropped it. It's weird. It cracks in the woods. From the woods, all of that gets covered in smoke, as well as it starts spreading all the way to the city. How? And like you
Yeah.
said, it was literally just like a Pokeball-sized little bottle, but somehow it
Yes.
spreads like would have to be like miles.
Yeah. And it doesn't help because the city loses power because Margot took the Eternal Flame to try to heal Zeraora with it.
I thought she
I,
was taking it because she wanted to like call Lugia, I thought.
did she? Was it to call Lugia? I thought she was gonna like use the power of the flame to heal Zeraora.
I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure she had it before Zeraora got injured.
You think so?
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying.
Well,
This
but
is
it
why
had
this
previous
movie,
no, but it had
because this movie's
previous
really.
injuries though. It had previous
Oh,
injuries
okay.
from saving her before, and they got injured
Yes,
again
that's right.
helping
They do
her.
like they do it. They
So
she explains that. There's a little flashback where she explains that he got hurt protecting her. But see,
yeah,
here's the
yeah.
thing, and we'll explain that in a moment. The thing is that there is all this backstory that's not really elaborated on about, oh, when that fire happened 50 years ago and Lugia came and, solved everything and Zeraora was there trying to help. The mayor lied and said that Zeraora died in order to protect it. That way people won't know that it's around.
Yes, because
And
it started
Mark,
getting aggressive because it hates humans because humans started the fire that killed a lot of Pokemon apparently. Zeraora saved a lot of Pokemon. It's like, oh, I hate humans now. So that's why the mayor lied, so that nobody would just like go
but
to
then it doesn't make
approach
sense because
Zeraora.
people can literally easily see it around, like the poachers or
I
like
mean,
Margot. She's a child. You think she's not gonna like talk about it? Super stupid. The
yeah.
point is, she steals the
And
Eternal Flame for some reason, whether it's to heal it, whether it's to call Lugia to heal it, whatever. She steals it, so the city loses power. At the
yes,
same time,
because
this stupid thing cracks and it's spreading, smoke everywhere.
yes, and apparently Lugia only knows to bring wind to the city if the eternal flame is there. Like how does that make sense? Lugia will only give them wind if the flame is in there. Which how does that work? Because the eternal flame is basically like an electronic torch that so was it a real fire at some point or did they literally craft this weird torch thing to contain the fire, and is it literally just the same fire from 50 years, like we don't know, like it's just so it's kind of all over the place. But either way, Lugia doesn't give them wind. They lose power because their whole electrical grid is run on wind power, and people are trapped. Pokemon are being injured. So they go, okay, well, I can use Torin. He goes, okay, well, I can work up, natural cure, the ability of natural cure in one of my little capsules. We just need to find a way to disperse it to, counteract the effect spore. So then they go, oh, well, let's use the old power plant with the windmill. Okay, yeah, sure, they do that. Oh, and by the way, there's a fire now, rampaging. Yeah, just a random fire. We both reviewed both the movie and the script, and the fire literally just appears out of nowhere.
Yeah,
There's no like
it
loose
literally,
spark.
yeah, it
There's no
literally
fire
makes,
type
yeah,
Pokemon.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
looking it up. It literally makes no sense because okay, the effect spore starts spreading the smoke. Meanwhile, Ash and all of these people, they're looking at how Margot is talking about what happens to Zeraora. As the smoke is spreading, they just start talking and they seem super casual, like they don't like they're whatever. They're not like they're not they're just kind of be like, yeah, we should help like clear this up, but they don't seem super worried. Then it starts spreading towards the city. That's where people start freaking out, evacuating, that sort of thing. And then out of nowhere, Zeraora, who had been injured, it's having like a dream PTSD style of when there was a fire 50 years ago. And then out of nowhere, it wakes up and the fire is also happening in present day. And we don't know where it came from.
Yeah. So, and then we find out that Harriet, the old grouchy lady, actually built that entire windmill power plant thing. And she's grumpy because she had a snubble that died in the fire, getting a key for her to power the windmill power plant thing. And that's why she hates Pokemon. She's just taking out her frustrations that she lost Snubble on everybody else. That's why she's grumpy.
Which doesn't even make sense. She hates Pokemon because her Pokemon died in a fire. But the
Yes.
fire was caused by people. So shouldn't she hate people that like mistreat Pokemon or like hurt the environment then?
Well, that was covered up though, remember? The mayor covered that part up. So they think that the fire just, I guess, started out of nowhere.
So how does she mad at Pokemon? It still doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
So,
is it like supposed to be, I guess, implied like, oh, like when something happens to them, so they push people away. They don't want to form relationships.
it's basically
guess
just
it's
her
that.
grief. Yeah, it's her grief that's driving people away. But she mans up. They go to the windmill. Calloway decides to redeem himself and help. He gets the windmill going. Oh, and by the way, he catches a Sudowoodo. That's a minor part of the movie. It literally means basically nothing other than, oh, Sudowoodo likes to imitate a tree. I like to imitate, that I have a different life too. So that's the whole comparison. It's so stupid.
We can pretend together.
Yeah. So they bond. He baseball. Babe Ruth throws the little capsule out. It explodes in the windmill. It blows, because that also just creates a giant plume of smoke as well. Somehow it blows. It counteracts everything. Yay! It's all safe. And also they put out the fire with the help of water Pokemon, and
why do they even need water
it.
Pokemon? Apparently, Terran, is that his name? I forget already.
Tauren.
Apparently he's Tauren. Apparently he's just this master inventor. He should be able to solve all the world's problems. Like, they don't need water Pokemon.
Yeah.
He can just throw his capsules and that fixes fires, apparently.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, should. But yeah, no, that's what they do. But oh, don't worry. No, but it's not all over yet, because the fire damaged a tower, and part of the tower is coming down, and it's gonna crush this little girl again. Man, this little girl has like the worst luck. She's been killed almost like 4 times in this movie. And Zeraora jumps up. Oh, and we forgot to mention, Zeraora now respects Ash, because of course Ash tries to battle it to convince it to help, and Zeraora, all willy-nilly, almost hits Pokemon with its attack. Ash jumps in the way. They try to do another fake out with Ash dying, but they don't run it as long that time. And then Zeraora's like, okay, fine, I'll help. Sure. So that's the backstory for that. That's why he's good now. And he jumps up, creates a ball of electricity or whatever, catches the part of the tower that's falling, and he's about to be overpowered. But then the town starts cheering him on, and then he gets the strength to continue to levitate the tower. Like, it's such a weird part, because he's just defying gravity and is just like levitating the part back up and fixes it. And as they're doing that, Risa, they gave her the Eternal Flame because she's a track star, and she was supposed to run it back. So she gets over her fear of running, and her brother is revealed to be a creeper and was spying on her the whole time. It's like, hey, yo, I'll help you find the safest path. And then she's like, how do you know where I am? He's like, don't worry about it. So they do that. She puts it in just at the nick of time, because for some reason, they needed to put the Eternal Flame back before dawn, or else Lugia, I guess, would never give them wind again. Like, even if you put it back if you put it back an hour too late, Lugia's like, well, sucks to suck. I'm not going to give you wind anymore. I guess you don't need it. So she puts it back literally just in the lick of time. Lugia, I kid you not, comes out of nowhere. Like, Lugia just pops up as if he's just been chilling in the town the entire time. She's like, hey, can you help us put out the fire with your wind? And Lugia puts out the rest of the fire, which, yeah, and then they, have a heartfelt message, and the credits roll. And then funny, I didn't know that this would be a thing. I don't know if you know this, but at the end of the credits, she goes back to her brother and is like, "Hey, yeah, I did this stuff. Now, how did you know where I was?" And then he's like, "Oh, yeah, see, I just wanted to get some really good pictures of the festival, so I used some high-tech stuff." And then they just left it at that. But I think it's implied that it was the sunglasses that he gave her that like was tracking her whereabouts, and it would make sense too. So that's how he was tracking her.
Yeah,
But
because
yeah, no.
if you look in the like synopsis, it says in the post-credit scene, the Pokemon Channel announcer is revealed to be Rick as Risa
Yes.
demands to know how he knew where she was. I mean, him
Yes.
being the announcer still doesn't like really solve anything, but I guess
Yeah,
you're right. I
no.
guess he was the. Oh, and another thing, I looked up effect sport, right? I just Googled
Mm-hmm.
it, and it honestly, it's weird. It explains more here than it does in the actual synopsis for the movie. So
Yeah.
if you like Google it and then go to Bulbapedia, it says
Mm-hmm.
in the anime. Effect Sport played a major role in the Power of Us. Team Rocket attempted to raid Fula City's Pokemon Research Pavilion, but only got away with the solution of Effect Spore made by Torin. They later dropped on accident, which released a toxic gas that in turn triggered a devastating fire. Both disasters endangered Fula City, but Ash and the citizens worked together to successfully combat both.
Yeah.
So it
So
feels like it feels like you find more information here than the actual synopsis for the movie. That's
yeah.
so weird.
But yeah, no, the movie was just, I think they were just, and it's called The Power of Us, right? So they wanted a huge group of people to, come in and solve the problem together. The problem with that is that it's, it, it gets all over the place, because
Yeah,
the
it
character,
feels like there's too many stories happening at the same time and
yeah.
trying to like be brought together, but then like none of them are like that interesting, and like none of them, not all of them have that much of a payoff. Like the
Yeah.
whole thing with Callahan, okay, he's like some con artist that always lies. Okay, and so what is that? How does that, oh, he catches a Sudowoodo because get it? They both like to play pretend. And
Yeah.
he redeems himself by throwing in the little capsule thing. But like
Hmm.
how is that the payoff of like the earlier stuff? It's weird, right?
Yeah.
And then like same thing with Torin. Like he doesn't really get over his shyness. He's still shy. He just continues to be a good inventor, like a master inventor that can probably solve all the world's problems, which is kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
And then like the whole thing of Margot, she's always like almost dying. Like what the hell, man? I mean, like it's weird, man. It's just so many stories. And Risa, like, ooh, she's there. And get it at the end, she's the one that like runs the eternal flame back to put it in its place.
Yeah.
Okay, like they could have like really put the flame back. However, they could have just
Yeah.
had like a flying Pokemon go and like put it in its place. It didn't have
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
her.
You know the ironic part is that there was a Pokemon Xatu. It's a flying type. It literally could have just flew it back in like a quarter of the time.
Yeah, so like nothing feels like it means or does anything for their story. It's not like they were necessary. It's not like she did something that only she could do. You know what I mean? Like, let's say
Yeah.
none of the Pokemon are available and they need to get there quick. And we had heard that when she like gets running, she can like be pretty quick. It's like, okay, you need to like run it over there. I can understand, but like no, it's oh god, it's so dumb.
Yeah, and like you said, nothing really has. I mean, the conclusions that they give for their story arcs doesn't really tie. Like you said, he's a con artist. What does throwing a ball into the windmill? How does that redeem him of lying? And the inventor, he helps invent the thing that counteracts the effects for. That's great, but how did that help you get over your shyness? I mean, you're still the same. Margot had like the least character development because she stayed the exact same. I don't think anything changed with her.
Yeah, she's just worried about, she's like, okay, she worries about Pokemon. She wants to protect Pokemon. And so she
Yeah,
protects their aura. At the end, she's still doing that. Like that
yeah,
didn't,
and yeah, Risa, she got over her anxiety about running again after her accident. Yay. And Harriet, I guess, had the biggest change of all because she got over her grief, and at the end it shows that she's like cuddling up with Pokemon again. That was pretty nice, and that actually ties in with her at the very least because she used Pokemon to help start the windmill again. So at least her story arc had a fitting conclusion for what her problem was. Everyone else just thrown together. Ash was just here. Like his only thing that he did was battle Zeraora and sacrifice himself again so that the legendary could understand that humans do care about Pokemon. Lugia has no purpose in this movie. If they
oh my
used
God.
if they used rain power, I can understand because Lugia is associated with rain and the ocean. It's the conflict. It's two sides of the coin with Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh's all about the sun. So Lugia is all about rain in the ocean. Ho-Oh is the sun in the sky. So why does it now provide wind? It has never been associated with wind. I guess Aeroblast is its like signature move that involves wind, but its whole character is just the ocean and water. Make the city powered by water then. Why is it
God.
powered by wind? And that would make sense because Lugia then used its rain to put out the fire.
Exactly. It would have made more sense.
Yeah.
So overall thoughts on this movie for me, a lot. It's what crazy is I looked up like what do people think of this movie. A lot of people really like it,
Yeah.
and they totally trash on I Choose You, but like this movie. But for me, it's the opposite. I like I Choose You. Okay, number one, because I like that it tried to do something different to the formula. This
Mm-hmm.
one, it's all about the same thing. There's some sort of city. It has some sort of a power thanks to a legendary Pokemon. Ash arrives in the nick of time for some sort of festival. Then, some shenanigans happen and the city is, under attack and they're, worried. And so they have to do something where they convince one of the side, mythical Pokemon to play nice and believe in humanity to help the city. And then the legendary Pokemon helps out and shows up to save the city. They literally have done that so many damn times.
Yeah.
And they did that again here. So at least I like the power. I Choose You. At least it did something different with a little globe-trotting adventure and, all the stuff we talked about last time. At least it's something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Also, I felt like the more, slice of life, downtime moments were more interesting in I Choose You. I liked when they were in the cave and they were all just hanging out, as friends. And a lot of the stuff I thought was just better versus here. It just, no, I didn't really like it. Here, there was too many stories going on at the same time. Well, over there, it was Ash's story and his two companions' story, basically. And kind of that rival dick guy, right?
Yeah.
Here, there's all these stories that weren't even necessary. As you were explaining it, all they would have needed is it should have maybe been Margot, and they should have put more of a focus on her because of how she likes to protect, Pokemon and like Zeraora and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it should have been maybe Risa. Okay, so Ash has someone to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
And Harriet. That should have been it.
Yep. Should have been it.
They didn't need, Torin. They didn't need Callahan. Oh my God, they did not need a lot of these characters. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
They didn't need Kelly because she's Callahan's daughter. They didn't need any of those people.
Niece, yeah.
Yeah, niece, yeah.
Yeah, but
oh God, it was all over the place. I didn't really enjoy it. I think it was too much of the same formula. A lot of stories that went nowhere. Didn't really have a lot of good action or anything, and just it's not the worst, but it's definitely very, like you said, for me, mid, honestly.
Yes, yeah. I would definitely put this in the middle of the movies. It's not the worst. Like I can put it on and watch it. It's better than like Volcanion and the Mechanical Marvel. It's better than like the Latios movie. It's better than those. But like like we mentioned, it just is all over the place. They tried to do too much in at the same time. They should have just focused on a few characters and left it at that. And it could have been better. And it could have just been a slice of life movie versus because like we talked about, there was no action really. Like it was basically just a slice of life. Yeah, adventure type movie. And that's fine. But you can do it better. And they have done it better. And which is why this is very disappointing, especially followed up from I Choose You.
Exactly.
So that's how we feel. And
if you don't agree with this, you're wrong.
Yeah. So I guess so that is the takeaway. And I'm actually normally I let you introduce the next movie, but I'm actually going to jump in real quick because the next movie is technically Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. So that's like basically a tiny like reboot, not reboot. What's the word I'm looking for? Remake. Yeah, it's just a remake. And I guess we can like do a little mini review of that one because it's literally the exact same movie before we go on to the actual next movie. That I mean,
are we going to do that as its own thing, or are you going to attach it to this?
No. I got an idea where we'll do it as its own thing.
Okay,
I got a plan.
If that is the case, then there you have it. Charific introduced the next movie. It's going to be the, basically remake of, the first movie, because it
Hmm.
has Mewtwo and stuff. And I guess we'll get to that next time then.
Yes. So, with that, I will see you in the next Pokemon movie analysis. Bye.
Later.